Am I the asshole for changing my delivery address to mom's house to not let my wife unboxing my packages? We're 34M and 33F, got married in 2022, living together since 5 years. My wife WFH, IT, and I work at a public department. We're child-free. The government will take care of our retirement and hospital bills. So, we don't have any big reason to save a lot of money. As a result, we spend like 50% of our combined income for upgrading our lifestyle, buying things for fun, travel, etc. Each of us do like 20 orders/month. Since I'm out of the house during the day, my wife usually receives my deliveries. The issue is, she unboxes my orders behind my back, even though I've told her not to. I know it sounds petty, but it ruins the unboxing experience for me. I love inspecting all the contents and packaging the way we received it, etc. Although she roughly keeps them back in the place, that's nowhere near as good as the original packaging. It's not like I don't trust her with the content. She's a very little careless with items, while I'm kind of perfectionist and take care of my belongings. All of this contributes towards ruining my delivery experience. Once, she accidentally threw away the manual of a gadget along with the packaging. I assumed that it didn't come with a manual and spent my whole evening figuring out its functions. I told her multiple times, still she opens them up out of curiosity. I can't set the delivery location to my office, as it's a government building and nobody does that. Tired, I changed the address to my mom's house, as she lives near my office, a distance low enough to visit her house even daily. Mom has no issues with claiming my orders and never opens them. But now my wife is upset and accusing me of taking the personal matter out of our house. My mom isn't tech savvy, must have assumed that I somehow get some discounts by getting things delivered to her doorstep. I haven't told her the real reason why I did that. Not the asshole. You're enforcing a boundary. The real issue is why you even had to do that. Why isn't your very simple and reasonable request enough for her? The second you said, and is careless and even throws the manuals away. You had me there. The fact is, if she threw the manual away, what else has she thrown out that you didn't know about? A lot of stuff comes with spare parts. Maybe a spare filter or belt for a vacuum, etc. Some stuff can be fragile. If something was, and she was careless, how do you know if it arrived broken or she broke it? Not the asshole, and I would do the same thing too. Not the asshole, all your wife has to do is treat you with basic respect in regard to your mail. That's all. She is not forced to open your packages. As soon as she stops doing it, the issue disappears. What she apparently wants is for you to just put up with her opening up your packages forever, as if that is an unavoidable part of life. Tell her that she has the solution literally in her hands, that is by keeping her hands away. Can she do that? Yes? Then the packages can be delivered to your house. No. Then she has absolutely no leg to stand on. This is the solution you were driven to by her inability to grant you the most basic respect by leaving your packages alone. Her behavior is incredibly rude, and she should be ashamed of doing it. She's lucky you don't make more of an issue of it. Not the asshole, this should have stopped the first time you asked your wife not to do that. But, I have to take issue with something else here. You said the government will take care of all your retirement and medical for life. Don't trust that. Stuff changes all the time. Make your own retirement accounts, even if you don't fund them much, just to have something in case things change. I mean, look at all the safety nets that went away in just this past year. We're child-free. Your wife is, you are not. You have a 33-year-old toddler without self-control. Not the asshole, she needs to accept that not every package is for her. I get opening a package by accident or opening the delivery of coffee/cat food and putting it away, but unboxing the contents? Holy main character. Not the asshole, but your wife is the asshole for you having to do this in the first place. It is really so easy for her not to open your packages. It's bananas that she is upset that you stopped her from being able to do so. Am I the asshole for canceling Christmas after a family fight? I, 25F, was supposed to go to my parents' house for Christmas morning breakfast. My sister, 32F, her husband, and her 3 kids were also going. My brother, 29M, is married with 4 kids. My parents are hosting, mom 50, dad 51. Over the past year, my sister-in-law's family moved from about 12 hours away to 10 minutes away. Like everyone. Parents, siblings, grandparents, all of them. Since then my brother and his wife spend a ton of time with her family. We constantly hear about dinners, birthdays, and random get-togethers at their house with her side. Meanwhile, my side of the family, me, my sister, and sometimes even my parents, are not really talked to much anymore. We're rarely invited to things with the kids or plan get-togethers anymore. And genuinely the last time me and my fiancé stopped by their house, we both got the very distinct sense we were unwelcome and almost intruding. I thought maybe I was being a really sensitive until my fiancé brought it up as soon as we got in the car. I want to be clear, I don't resent her family time at all. I'm glad she has support, especially since she's a SOM and the rest of us work. We've helped plenty in the past with emergencies, watching the kids, even taken PTO to help, set up for birthday parties, etc., but it's been really helpful for them to have family who's more available. Recently, all of his in-laws were invited to his stepdaughter's baptism, down to her siblings' spouses. None of us were invited. We weren't even told it was happening. This wasn't a one-off thing. Just the most recent thing where me and my sister are hurt, and unlike every time I've talked to my sister about things like this, I cannot excuse it away. We get left undelivered a lot when try to plan things with their kids and them. We've asked about doing things with the kids like trick or treating together, kid-friendly New Year's plan for after Christmas stuff, etc., and get zero response. Just straight left undelivered by both of them. I asked 7 times for the kids' Christmas lists, and after a few lukewarm responses never got them. It honestly feels like we have to beg to be included, and it's exhausting, and very different than how all of us have ever been for the past 10 years. I privately told my brother that the lack of involvement this year has been painful, and that it makes it feel like our side of the family isn't really wanted in his or kids' lives anymore. His response was polite, but to be honest, a super weird, basically non-answer, with no apology or explanation as to why we were not invited whatsoever. When I talked to my mom about it, she told my sister and me that we were being ridiculous and needed to get over it, and said stuff like, "That's just how he is. And he just doesn't think about stuff like that." At that point, my sister and I were just done. We decided we don't want to go to Christmas morning this year. We just don't feel like showing up and potentially having hurt feelings spilling over in front of the kids. Edited for clarity after a bunch of similar comments. So am I the asshole for canceling Christmas? Why don't you guys just start traditions without him? Why do you need to focus so much on his lack of attendance? I get that it hurts, but it seems like he's set on what his priorities are, and he's an adult. There's nothing you can do to change that. They probably love you guys fawning over them so much. Stop inviting, stop group messaging, start making your own traditions, and watch them probably start to get upset. That's all you can do really though, is move on. NH. Info, just for clarification. Your issue is that you don't get included, but now that you're invited to something with them, you don't want to go? You are the asshole. You're not hosting Christmas. You're not canceling anything. This is just not showing up for the invite. Why are your parents losing out on time with the rest of their grandkids because you and your sister are hurt by your brother's actions? These grandparents have nothing to do with the drama. In my opinion, you and your sister are TA. You are going to be punishing your parents because you are upset with your brother. That isn't fair to your parents. So just to get this straight, this is your chance to spend part of Christmas with your nieces/nephews, the exact thing you claim you've been missing out on? And you're going to cancel to prove what point exactly? You not attending would only show that you have no real interest in them, and that your brother and SIL are justified in not inviting you to attend other events with their kids. Plus you're stiffing your own parents. You are the asshole. What are you? 12. So your parents aren't doing anything that bothers you, your brother and sister-in-law are. So you're going to punish your parents by not going to their house to visit with them? This is entirely counterproductive. You're angry about being left out, but not taking the time to enjoy the family you do have around. Your parents can't change your brother, and neither can you. But why forego time with your sister and her family and your parents instead of pouting at home? Every family on earth has people they wish were there and aren't for one reason or another. But why not celebrate with those who do choose to actively be in your life? The alternative is everyone is unhappy, except your brother. You are the asshole if you let a single family member's absence dictate what the rest of your family does. Am I the asshole for trying to find out why I was blocked? I was recently sent a message out of the blue from a friend, fake name, Cranberry, simply stating, "I wish you the best, but I have to block you." This caught me by surprise as only a few days ago we called, and everything seemed perfectly fine. While it is true we are far from how close we used to be, we were still friends. I was extremely worried. I don't know what was happening, and I wasn't sure if I somehow did something wrong, or something is wrong on their end. I decided to reach out to a friend, fake name, Pomegranate, who is very close to Cranberry. I have not talked to them in a couple months, but that is not unusual with me. I sent a message simply saying hi, explaining the situation, and asking if they knew anything. I did not get a response. After a couple more days I went to check, and saw that Pomegranate read the message. I decided to reach out again, highlighting that I am very stressed out about this, and that any sort of response would be helpful. Yet again, no response. I left this for a while, and sure enough, when I came back it was read but no response. At this point I was desperate. I said that I was not sure why I am being kept in the dark, but this is really affecting me. If there is a problem with me, I should at least have some kind of understanding of what I did. Predictably. Read no response. And I messaged one final time, saying that I was getting fed up. At this point I feel like you are intentionally hurting me. I felt it was pretty shitty to just ignore, knowing full that I was so worried and stressed. It's a completely avoidable thing. Finally, later on the same day I got a message from both friend Cranberry and Pomegranate, both basically saying that I should have just let it go. I did not need to message Pomegranate at all, and I was harassing them. I got a sort of explanation simply saying that they were moving on and did not need me. That is that. They claim they had no animosity, but were moving on, but still think it was very wrong of me to try to find out what was happening. While I understand I should not have gotten short at the end, I truly don't think I did anything that wrong. So what do you think? Am I the asshole? Edit. Thank you all so much for your advice and support. I am someone who gets trapped in cycles of worry and regret, and reading these comments have helped me feel better about myself. I fully recognize that I could have handled this situation better, and I will make sure to learn from this in the future. Thank you all so very much for giving your feedback and help clear my conscience, as well as giving me a lesson I doubt I would have learned otherwise. That shit is cruel. You don't need either of them. Not the asshole. It's hard to know what the whole story is because you yourself don't know. I will only say that one message is the limit. No response is a response. No one owes anyone their time. If you do not know what happened, it is very painful to be treated that way. Generally, good people do not act this way. Communication is the respectful and responsible thing to do. It is cowardly not to give an explanation if there is no safety issue. However, some people are cowards. Some are selfish. Many are both. I don't believe that your messages constitute harassment. Since they feel harassed, don't contact them again. It doesn't seem fair, but in the long run you will be better without these kind of people in your life. It still hurts, and I have lots of empathy for you. Not the asshole. But there's a key reason why. There are two things to remember when cutting someone off. To have decency, you either need to do it in person or over a phone call, unless it isn't safe to. You also need to provide a reason, again, unless unsafe to do so. Cranberry did neither of these things in this situation. And also, Pomegranate never cut you off. How the heck were you harassing them? If they had really moved on, they would have blocked you and never have read your texts. You did not harass anyone here. Not the asshole. I do not think you were an asshole for trying to find out what happened. Since Cranberry seems to be choosing to move on for their own reasons, and nothing that you did, it would have been decent of them to simply say that. However, you need to accept this last response and move on. It sucks to wonder what happened and to feel so blindsided. But they were clear that for whatever reason, however reasonable or unreasonable it is, they no longer want a connection to you, and that you have to respect. It actually is possible that they have reasons that are less about you and more about them, and they do not have to disclose those reasons. You and I have no way of knowing if that is actually the case here, but you have to consider that possibility and take them at their word. Not the asshole. They don't have to be friends with you, but they don't have to act like dicks either. I think that since your messages were being read, and Pomegranate hadn't blocked you, that you didn't do anything wrong. It would have taken a couple of seconds to tell you what they eventually did. They just decided to be cruel about it, and let you spiral for nothing. It sucks now, but in the long run you will be better without them. Your friends are cowards and jerks. They did you a favor. Not the asshole. Better for them to get out of your life than to stay in your life and constantly stab you in the back. Good riddance to bad rubbish. Am I the asshole for not defending my sister? My 38F sister Sadie, 39F, has admittedly been through a lot. Her boyfriend in college passed away from a type of rare heart attack. Then her fiancé suddenly passed in 2017 from a blood clot. She was also living with our dad and stepmom, while our stepmom battled and lost her life to cancer. She has seen and dealt with death more than most. Over the summer, we went to my grandma's funeral. She was the last grandparent, so emotions were high for everyone, including Sadie, mostly from memories of her fiancé's funeral. She had snapped at the family several times for not giving her space, for not checking on her, for not asking what they could do for her, etc. She was all over the place with her emotions, and I guess an uncle snapped back at her, telling her to get her // together. I had already flown home before I saw any of this happen, but she was mostly upset that no one defended her against the uncle or even acknowledged it happened. She then told our parents and siblings that if we ever talked to those aunts and uncles again, it would be a huge betrayal to her. I figured she was overreacting and she would calm down in time. Since then, Sadie has gotten only angrier, saying that she was right, that the family is cruel and selfish for not calling her, addressing what happened, or sticking up for her to the uncle. Recently, one of the aunts offered to come with us on our cruise to help with the kids, and Sadie exploded on me. For nearly a week, she called to scream at me, saying I'm just as bad as they are, that if I don't tell them to cancel their tickets, then she's never speaking to us again. She's cutting us off forever, and she doesn't understand why we don't care about her. Because I didn't see any of this happen. I've spoken to most of the family who were there, and they all say they tried to give her space, and she lashed out at them. But she spun this so out of control that she now thinks we're all toxic, and she needs to protect herself from us. And I just had a feeling something would happen with her during this trip, because for the last several get-togethers with her, she blows up about something, and we end up apologizing for what offended her, just to get her to stop. I agree her feelings were hurt, but everything after that I feel like she made a mountain out of molehills. But should I have defended her? Where do we go from here? She has unresolved grief and needs therapy. Not the asshole, but she needs serious grief counseling. Not the asshole, your sister is being unreasonable. She forgot that everyone who was at the funeral lost your grandma, not just her. But it sounds like she's having a very hard time with everything that happened. So she made grandma's funeral about her. And she got mad at aunts and uncles. Some of them had probably just lost a mother. Has your sister always been self-centered and demanding of attention? If it's a pattern, then she might just be a narcissist, and you need to take steps to protect yourself and your kids. If it's something new, then she needs professional help. Not the asshole. She needs serious therapy to deal with her outbursts. I hope you can convince her to try it. Good luck. Not the asshole. Sadie needs to seek counseling to address her anger. She is taking out her pain on everyone around her and doesn't see how it's destroying her most valuable relationships. It seems that she is so afraid of hurting that deeply again, she is pushing everyone away. I feel for her. I lost my mom recently. But she has to address this yesterday. It's destroying all ties that she has in her life.